Sean, good to see you. I take it you got a good welcome from the likes of Michael Keane, James Tarkowski and Dwight McNeil.
Why only them?
Well, I'm just thinking that you obviously know them a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a really good welcome from all, in fact. Staff, players alike. I know a bit about the feel around the club from being here, visiting here, but it's true, the staff, everyone's been very open to us being here. So not just them players, and I think there's been a good reaction so far to what we've tried to do in this early part of our careers here.
So how have the first few days gone? What have you been working on with the players? What have you learned new about your squad?
Well, I think they're open-minded. I think they've been very honest about the challenge, about what it is, what it has been, what it is now, and where we can go. We did a bit of a feedback session on that, so I was happy with their honesty. I think there's a desire to put things right. I think that's relevant and become quite obvious, actually. Excuse me. They know there's an adaptation period for what we want to do. A load of stories made about me doing yo-yo tests, and it's all nonsense. It's just a scientific test, that's all. One of many that we do. I know the markers, I know the physical markers in the Premier League. It's one of a few different versions of tests that I've used down the years. I've got all the data for it. So that was just a marker in the sand, which I explained to the players. Someone was implying it was a question about the feeling of other managers that have been in. Nothing at all. I've total respect for all managers, including Frank and his staff. I'm sure they work very hard here. No question that whatsoever. I can only share a view of how I want to do things and not question others.
So what is your assessment of the challenge that you face here?
Well, I don't think that one's rocket science. I think everyone knows the challenge, and that's to get out of the situation. It is what it is. The team are where they are. The league doesn't lie. I'm not obsessed with league tables. I like the one at the end of the season as long as you're the right part of it. But the current league table doesn't lie. We're there for a reason. It's about how we all correct it. And I think the biggest thing for me is the alignment, going from owner through the chairman, through Kev, through myself, and into the players and into the fans. I think we've got to make sure that's there. But it starts with, obviously, me and the work with the players and my staff to make sure we're aligned, because we're the team behind the team. And then we've got to make the team go out there and perform, quite obviously. And at the end of the day, whichever way you cut and dry, do all the best work in the world or whatever it's deemed, you got to win. You've got to win games. Got to get points on the board.
Obviously, I don't want to overshadow your first news conference here as the
but you're going
to. I'm going to slightly, because obviously we have got the people who've been responsible for transfers over this month here with us, and you're the face or the person who's got to front up to that. So what can you tell us about why the club wasn't able to bring in new signings in those last few days of the transfer window while you were here, and what explanation have you been given for not bringing in new faces previously in the month?
Well, firstly, one thing I can assure you, because I've been here at once I was appointed, I managed to get here Saturday, so I can only tell you what I know from being here. And Saturday, all I've seen is hard work. That's all I've seen so far, particularly in the recruitment area, because obviously we know the window was what it was, and the owner, the chairman, Kev, myself, I've been leaving here late at night, Kev on the phone constantly, the owner, the chairman on the phone constantly. I can assure you I was there. I physically was there, seeing it all. So there's absolutely been hard work. A couple of things about the playing options is, first of all, you've got to align them. I've said many, many years, my Premier League experience is all parties have to say yes. We all know that. You've got to get to that situation. You need the finance in place to make them situations happen. We all know that. But likewise, the thing that often gets overviewed is that they've got to be better than what we've got here. I think we've got some very, very good players here. Some very talented players. Now, they may have lost their way. We can all have debates on why things are not where they want to be or what they should be or whatever people deem. But there's some very talented players here. And I've never been one that's signing players for the sake of signing them. There's a rule to every rule, and that would be, if you've got a young player you think can develop into these style of players and this level of quality, of course, that's different. But when you're talking about players just coming in and going straight into, let's say, the team, they better be good players, because I believe there's good players here. Now, of course, our job is to help them, guide them, hopefully, to better days and polish them down, and polish them up a bit rather, and maybe give them a different way of looking at the game, and give them the freedom to go and play amongst the framework to, be strong as a unit. But you get my point, is you're not just going to sign players for the sake. Well, I'm not. I'm just going to not sign players for the sake of signing them, and then you never see them again. They've got to affect what we're doing, and they've got to be good enough to affect what we're doing. As I don't see the point in it. And we work very, very hard, I can assure you, because I was here, I was watching it, I was involved in it, I'm ringing agents, we're doing all of the diligence, all the crunching of analytics numbers, everything we could do to define the players that can help.
That said, though, obviously Anthony Gordon has left the club, and it was accepted that the club was looking to bring in a couple of further attacking options before he left. So how much of an issue is it, the fact that you've not even been able to get in a replacement for Anthony?
Well, the timing of that was before me, obviously, the sale, I mean, so that was already in progress. Trying to react to the situation then is a different ballgame, because you don't know what money's coming in until that deal was done, of course. It's coming in, not literally, by the way, it doesn't come in all in one go, then it's go, here you go. And then looking at the players that would fit into that market of the money available against the quality of player. Of course, there's lists of players that everyone will have. Most players know the runners and riders. Most teams and most development units, recruitment units, know the runners and riders in football. Like I say, the odd bit of gold, that you find, a young player or a developing player you might find, but generally, we all know the players that we think are going to be the players. But you've got to get ones that you're more or less hedging your bets, they can affect the group. And as I said, I think there's some very good players here. They're maybe not performing at the level they can do at this moment in time, but that's my job, the staff's job and their job to take that on and remind ourselves what a good group of players there are here.
It seemed when you took over as well, Sean, that promises were made about recruitment. It seems the way you're talking that you don't feel let down by that.
No, there doesn't seem that there was any promises. Promises. What promises can you make in recruitment? It takes the human beings. It takes everyone to align. Simple as that. You can make as many promises about this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, people have got to align with what the deal is. And literally sign a deal or a contract that puts them as part of your football club. I don't speak about other people's players. You know that. You've known me a long time. I don't really do that. So there's fair to say there was loads of phone calls made, offers put in. They didn't get to the place we wanted them to be for whatever reason. That's the way it sometimes goes.
Can you talk about free agents, though? And any chance of something that could happen in the free transfer
Well,
market?
yeah, again, I mean, often being totally disrespectful to football and the system that it is. Sometimes, not always, but some of them players are there for a reason, because maybe there's a reason why they're not at clubs. You do get the odd bit of gold, like I said. We're looking at the market. Of course, we're aware of the players out there, but yet again, they've got to be able to affect what we do. So that's the biggest one for me. Now, it's not always about money and have or have not. You've got to bring players in to affect what you do. And I've been a big believer in that for many years, and you definitely know that, because you've spoken to me about it many times.
I will have to throw one name at you, though. Isco, any chance?
As I said, there's a list of players we'll be looking through. Do they fit what we need? Do they fit what we can do? Do they fit what we need to achieve going forward? And can they do it with pretty quickly? Because you sign players for the future, that's different. But let's face it, we need things that are going to activate now. So the first port of call is in-house. What have we got in-house? Can we make sure they're ready for the task in front of us?
How fit and ready then is someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin to really be the focal point of your attack, and I suppose to recapture the kind of form that we saw that took him into the England squad?
Yeah, I mean, he's had his ups and downs with fitness, I'm aware of that. Getting him truly fit and his body strong enough is going to be the key. I think I've spoke to him, I think he's a lot closer than he felt he was. Obviously he's an important player, but there's lots of important players here. It's not just him, but with his scoring record here and his level of performance, it's not so long ago before the injuries kind of hit him, and he's a very good player without a doubt.
Anyone else near in a comeback? Thinking James Garner, Ben Godfrey, Michael Keane?
Yeah, Ben Godfrey's closer. Michael Keane's getting fitter and has trained. Garnes is going to be a little bit yet.
So how do you feel about your first game as Everton manager against Arsenal?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I'm aware, of the recent noise around the club and all that sort of stuff, but I think it's important. I don't know everything about the Evertonians. I'm learning about the reasons why there's some noise around the club and things like that. I mean, in depth reasons rather than just what I've read. But the one thing I know about the Evertonians, they stand by their club and they protect it and they'll look after it, and that's what I need now. I need that as a manager. My staff, my players need that full support, that's for sure. So looking into the first game, I think that's going to be really important just as a start point. Before the ball even rolls, we've been working very hard on the training pitch, trying to cram a lot in with the players about the culture and environment, trying to realign what we think. I remind you what we think is important, not questioning anyone before me remotely, what we as a group think. Some of the consistent beliefs in what we think between us, and then taking that on the pitch. So we provide that, and we want the fans to give us a chance to go and provide it for them and to support us, amongst all the noise. It's the old favourite. It's easy to take the wheel of a ship in calm water. waters, not so much when it's choppy waters. Well, we want the fans to play their part in that. It is choppy waters, there's no denying it. The club's not where it wants to be. But we want the fans to join in with us. We want the fans to reconnect with us. And it's easy to say, I've got to earn my spurs. Of course, I totally understand that. You know, I'm a bit of a Marmite manager anyway. Not everyone wants you. But at the end of the day, you have to earn your spurs. And I'm willing to put the hard yards in to earn that, to earn their respect. And I want the players to remind themselves. Some of them have earned that respect, but I want them to remind themselves, you have to do that. So we've got to give, of course. We want them to support us from the off, and that would be fantastic if they can, you know, get their hearts back on the sleeve. And even the ones that have got angles or problems or questions about the club, if they can just park it for a little while, get behind us, and hopefully reconnect with us.
Wins, I suppose, would be another way of pulling things together.
Yeah, of course. I mean, wins are them marvellous things in football. They seem to solve everything. You know, everything feels a whole lot better when you're winning. But yet again, you have to earn that. You know, no one gives you it. You might get a lucky one now and again, but let's face it, you don't really want to build on luck. You want to build on hard work, good performances, pride, passion, the will and desire of a team to win, and then, of course, layer on technical, tactical understanding, all the rest of it. But it really, for me, it's the heartbeat of a team and the heartbeat of a club, and we've got to remind ourselves there's a strong heart for Evertonians. I know that. Been in many times. We've got to provide that strong heart as a team and a group of people, all noses pointing in the right direction.
Good luck, Sean.
Thanks, anyone. Come to Richard.
Cheers, mate.
Hey,
All right,
you're
Sean,
right.
good to see you.
Yeah, and you.
There are all sorts of things in the mix in terms of information you're trying to get across to the players in a short space of time. But what is there a key message? What is the key message you've been trying to get across to them?
I think reminding them of the players they are, you know, because I've looked at their histories and I reminded them of that. You know, I said, you don't get to where you are in football, you don't get to be an Everton player without laying some markers down in your own careers as individuals and as a team. Alongside that, some of the basic principles that I think we want to work upon, I remind you again, we want to build here. And some of the ways that we want the team to imprint their belief in each other and the trust in each other, mapped out in a team format, quite obviously. I think there is technical prowess here. I think we can share maybe a twist and a tweak on the sort of base, if you like, they work from. Then I think that's going to be important. And some of the most obvious things, like I say, I tested the players to see where they're at physically. I test them in another way of profiling the players, see about their learning styles. We look at, you know, what they have been doing. We look at how they've been playing. We look at the best slots that players can fit in to be productive, and trying to cram that into 4 days' work, because you can't, you know, they need a day off. They're human beings. You can't just be out there every day, all day. It just doesn't work like that. So a lot of information has been shared this week, a lot about the culture and environment that I expect, but you know, we've got to earn that over time and build it, but we've got to fast track it. So trying to fast track all of these different things into a very short period of time, bit of a longer week next week, you know, with the players because of the fixtures, but we've got to start the process, which we have done, and like I said, the players have been very receptive so far. Big Brother cameras are on, of course, we're on our best behaviour. But, you know, so far there's been a good response to what we think.
Just on trying to create this unity, Sean, which you talked about, which is very important, the positive atmosphere around the club. Is there anything that you can do besides winning matches that the players can do to try and reconnect with a fan base that you know has disgruntled about certain things?
You earn that, though. You know, I've never thought any other. You know, as I got older in the game as a player as well, I don't think, you know, some managers might get a head start, some players get a head start because of the sort of preloaded view. I don't think I've ever asked for a head start. I think I've earned the right to be part of a football club, and I know it's a proud football club with a big history, so I've got to earn my part of it, and I'm willing to put the hard yards in for that, make no mistake. So I don't expect other than, if they can just give us a chance, you know, give us a chance, give us the support, which I know is there. I know that I've been in there when it's absolutely rocking, I can assure you, which is interesting when you're on the other side of it, so maybe we could build some of that. And interesting walking around the ground when you drop your car off. That's always been good fun. The Everton, I've had a bit of fun when I'm here scouting, so always good-natured, it must be said. So, you know, I want that atmosphere, but we have to come our way. I have to come my way as manager. The message is clear. Unity. We have to unify. We have to. It's a given. Even the most disgruntled Evertonians at the moment, if they can just give us a chance to stick by the team, because they are important. They're very important fans in football. Players respond to fans. You know, the energy changes very quickly when players feel that intensity of pressure, and now the pressure lifts, and now all of a sudden they feel this backing and this support. We need that backing and support. I do, my staff do, and the players do. We need it. So I'm just reaching out to them, say, look, we'll give you our honesty, we'll give you our work ethic, we get everything we can. All we ask back is just give us a window to allow us the chance to breathe, as I call it, and give us a window to get ourselves going, and please play your part in supporting that.
How much of an advantage is it, Sean, that you've been in this position with Burnley and got Burnley out of trouble? Do you feel as though you know exactly what to do because of that?
Look, I don't think you got magic dust. I think it comes from hard work. I think it comes from hard work from all, not just from me. I have to guide it. I have to lead it because I'm the manager. Staff, all areas of staff. The players inevitably, they're the ones that turn it round. I've always said that. The players are the main focus to turn things around, but I have to guide that, and I'm more than happy to take on that responsibility with my staff, of course, share the view and make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure we look after ourselves. So that's one thing I've learned is that. The other thing is often, not always, it comes down to literal, sheer hard graft. We can all talk about tactics and everything. Of course they're important, but you've got to be aware to put the graft in to deliver the tactics. And that's not just, brave is a funny word, I'm not on about just the tackles, and I'm on about the bravery to receive the ball, the bravery to deal with the ball. I'm talking about that, not just literal physical workload. I'm talking about organisation, showing your ability, but it usually starts with hard work of all kinds. Hard work the analysts, hard work the medics, hard work the scientists, hard work on the training pitch, all geared up to winning games. So that's from my experience of being in the Premier League.
We'll go to Hugh at the BBC.
Hi, Sean. Just a couple of quick ones for me. Any person who takes on a new job considers the pros and cons of that job. Given you described it as noise, given the noise and the circumstances, did you have any reservations? Did you think long and hard about whether to take this job?
Well, behind that, behind the noise, the outside noise, is a fantastic football club. A football club that means a lot to its fans. It means a lot to the people. It means a lot to football. It's been here a long time. The history, the feel of it. Possibly, if it wasn't in the shape it was in, maybe I wouldn't get the chance. I don't mind that. If they deem my skill set to deliver this, then I'll deliver it. I view it slightly different. I had a long time playing and a lot of different clubs. For me, you're a custodian. I'm a custodian of the football club. I'm not going to be here forever. I said that about Burnley. I wouldn't be there forever, and it changed. But while I'm here, I'll look after it, and I'll make sure it's in good hands, and I'll make sure it's given every chance, in my opinion, or every way I can work to help for it to be successful. And one thing I know is a heartbeat of this club is important, and I've certainly got that. I've got a big heart, so that's not a bad start.
You were at Burnley for 9.5 years and very successful during your time there. And it wasn't just about fighting relegation; it was about the achievements further up the table as well. But given the noise and the difficulties that you find yourself in with half the season to go, would saving Everton from relegation perhaps be your biggest achievement?
I'm not even bothered about achievements at this time. Achievements is getting the thing pointing in the right direction. That's an achievement as a start point. You've got to win games. That comes the next achievement. You've got to win enough games, don't forget. It's not just winning one game. One game doesn't change everything. You want to get your first win as quick as possible. That's obvious. But achievements of me to reflect on years down the line. I don't sit there thinking of Burnley and all the things we did there. Can't remember the last time I really got involved in it, because there'll be a point in my life when I sit back and go, I'm done and I'm finished, and then I will reflect on all them good times. But that's not for me now. It's about building now. It's about getting on with what needs doing now. We'll reflect upon it another day.
Thanks, Hugh. We'll go to James Mountford at Radio Merseyside.
Hi, Sean.
Hiya.
How do you feel about playing Arsenal in your first game in charge?
Fine side. They've become a very good side. Obviously, people are talking about winning the title, so that stands for itself. I always say it's the oldest woman in the book, but you've got to play everyone. So the way the way the fixtures fall is just one of them things. But no, they're having a very good time of it, obviously, at the moment. But I mean, I think they've known us long enough. At my previous club, not this one. But I think they'll realise that usually, we'll see, but I usually put out a team that are ready. They're ready for the challenge. So I wouldn't imagine, don't know, but I wouldn't imagine they're underestimating the strength of our challenge.
And just talk to us a little bit about your backroom staff, Ian Wells,
I don't have
Steve
to.
Stone.
It's all about me, not them. Well, Woney's been with me, previous clubs in a long time, Steve Stone as well. Friends from kids, we know about each other, but we're all different characters. So when I put the staff together, including Tony Loughlin previously, we're all different characters. That's the idea. Not everyone can sing to my song. I want input. I want direct feedback. I don't want flannel. If I ask them a question, I expect an honest answer, not the answer I want to hear. and they're good at that. They know me, they know our work, and they know that. Sports science Mark Howard, he's come in to operate with the group. There's a good group here. Yet again, knows our work, knows the expectation, knows how to deliver information. He knows he doesn't have to flannel me, just tell me what we need to do. So that's why they're good people, and they're very experienced people at this level of football.
Thanks, James. Go to Carl Markham at Press Association.
Hi, Sean.
Hey.
In April, as Burnley manager playing against Everton, I think you said at half-time that you didn't think the Everton team knew how to win a game. So what have you seen in this week that you've been here that's changed your view on that?
Yeah, well, I cleared that up afterwards, but I'm happy to clear it up again with Frank. I phoned him directly because it was misinterpreted, misconstrued, whatever you want to call it. I'd been through them stages, you know, and it still rings true. There's a feeling about a team. Sometimes the nerves and the feeling of a win coming gets the better of you. So that's all I was referencing, and only because I'd been down that road. Absolutely zero disrespect to Frank and his team at that time, although it was displayed differently. We've got to teach them how to win, you know, play our part in that. Some of that, of course, is just, they know, they're not, you know, there's a reasonably mature group here. There's a few younger players, but they're reasonably mature. They know the feeling of how to win a game. Now, there's certain things we feel that we can help with that, you know, but usually it's because of your confidence, because you're playing well, because, you know, that inner feeling within a camp and within a group. So we've got to sort of build that. But equally, you know, sometimes it's the maddest thing about football. You get a scruffy one, a lucky one, and everything just drops back into place for a bit, you know. So that's the catch-22, if you like. You know, you can only educate so far. Eventually, you've got to get one over the line. And when you get one over the line, it's amazing how quickly people just start dropping into understanding it again. That's all I meant. It was just a passing reference, having been there. You know, I've been in spells when you just smell it on your team. You're thinking they're not quite there. You know, they're desperate for the final whistle, almost. That's the thing. I understand why it comes around. It's just correcting it, and it's not easy to correct it. Often, like I said, it's sometimes, not always, it's a twist of fate. You know, you might get a couple of lucky decisions, you might get a lucky goal, but you don't want it by a twist of fate, of course. You want it by design. So our job is to design a way that we can get a win and then create that winning kind of environment, that winning atmosphere, and that knowledge of how to see games through.
What can you do to lift the confidence in the time you've been here? And obviously you work on the tactical and the physical, but what do you do confidence-wise?
I don't know. I suppose that's one for the players, but really put them in an environment, you know, try and a healthy kind of positive feel to what we're trying to do. A new voice, of course. You get a new voice, new training ways, new ways of going about your business. Try and build a bit of rapport with the players. I've had a good chat with a few of the players. Not as you imagine. I don't mean necessarily sitting in an office, that kind of chat. You know, just sitting chatting with them generally about their careers, about their life, about how they are, about what they're feeling, and just trying to build that bit of rapport with them. You know, because I always thought if you affect the person, you'll affect their performance. It's hard to do it vice versa, you know, so I always try and build a rapport, an energy, and honesty, for sure, with the group. I've already told them, we had a question and answer session about what they thought, a complete anonymity. I wasn't interested in who said what, I just wanted their feedback. You know, what was the feedback? Once they gave me that, we said, right, I shared it back with them and said, this is what you fed back, what do you think? So it just gives us a chance to open it all up a bit, because we need to get to the truth of them. We need to get the truth of what I can offer and my staff can offer. And sometimes it's just best to ask them. So I did. Just asked them, as simple as that. And then, in answer to your question, just kind of giving our feel to what it is. It's just a different feel than other managers. That's all. And hopefully they'll respond to that and flourish from it. But like I say, we've got to work as well. It can't all be fluff. There's plenty of hard work gone in this week, that's for sure.
Thanks, Carl. Any further questions in the open section before we move on to the papers? Yep.
Hi Sean, I'm Harry, Radio City. Nice to speak
Hiya.
to you. Obviously, the second half of last season with Burnley didn't end the way that you would have hoped it to. Can you take any lessons
It
from?
didn't end with me, I wasn't there, mate.
Well,
Just so I clear that
until
in case you forgot.
say. But is there anything that you can take from that experience into this new job with the next few games?
Completely different thing. Previous seasons, yes. One season we were, I think it was the same season, sorry, as the Europa League season. I think we were on 12 points at 19 games. So I remember how we turned that around. That's useful. But last season, completely different situation. Change of ownership, change of groups, player groups, you know, how they were, some coming out of contract, completely different scenario. But the previous, that was useful, yeah. I learned a lot from that season.
And anything from your time out of the game that you can take into?
Some good gigs, some really good gigs. No, look, I mean, I reflected for a while just on myself and what I had to offer. Started the process probably just before the World Cup when I started getting more involved again. Going out, speaking to companies, speaking to people, football people and business people as well. I quite like that kind of crossover. A few contacts I've got in the game. So I had a good break for a while when I just shut down for a while and then picked it all up. Probably 2 or 3 weeks before the World Cup, really started zooming back in on it all, taking more interest in it all, getting back involved. Couldn't go to games because I don't like that idea of manager turning up at games, and the manager's under pressure. That's not for me. So it's more through watching games. My son plays as well, so I tried to get some of his games. Michael Duff at Barnsley went to his game, and things like that. So keeping more of a feel out. Watched a lot of the World Cup, obviously. And then when I come back from that, got a Christmas out of the way, which I hadn't had since I was 16, an open Christmas, a normal Christmas, if you like. Never done that since I was 16, New Year and stuff like that. And then really, the feeling was flooding back in then. So when this opportunity came round, it was like a yes all the way.
Brilliant. Best luck on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Any further questions? Will?
Well, all right.
Yeah.
On camera, off camera.
Hi, Sean. Just
Sorry.
a quick one. Obviously, you have
Excuse
lost Stanley Gordon and you have got a...
Sorry, say the
you
first
have
bit again.
lost Stanley Gordon, who's a short of his attacking players, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's has his problems over the last 18 months. How important is it going to be then to look after his fitness from now until the end of the season and make sure he doesn't break
Well,
down?
one player doesn't make a team, that's for sure. Of course, he's a very good player. I think there's other good players. I think there's other good productive players. We want to find a style that they can fit into to be productive, quite obviously. We're aware the goal count isn't as high as we want, of course. Conceding, not too bad, but we've got to do better, both ends of the pitch. The middle section is for the debate of football, but the 2 boxes are always the most important thing. So that's certainly a focus on them 2 areas of the pitch and the players who can be productive in them 2 areas of the pitch, quite obviously.
Are you worried, though, that with your lack of attacking players?
No, but worried, it is what it is. What you can worry about, it is what it is. We are where we are. So managing the situation has always been what I've believed in. When you know the situation, rather than the goalposts changing and different views and all that, I know the situation. It is what it is. The window's shut. This is who we are. These are the players we are. This is the group we are. And I explained the players to them about that today. But I equally showed them their past, and there's some unbelievable stories here, trust me, of how they've got to this level of football through their lives, not just their football. And I think that's a powerful thing. So adding that into a group and that connectivity of a group, that's as powerful as anything rather than one player.